And it goes into the arms of Lloris. Gunners have Petr Cech, who's passed a fitness testing goal. Hector Bellerin, Laurent Koscielny, Shkodran Mustafi and Nacho Monreal. Granit Xhaka, Mohamed El Neni and Jack Wilshere across the middle as Dele Alli tries to force his way through for Tottenham Hotspur, but has been driven wide at the moment. Plays a rather weak cross into the middle, which is cleared by Mustafi. The front three for Arsenal. It's much talked about Mesut Ozil, who signed his new contract recently, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Henrik Mkhitaryan. Spurs on the front foot at the moment, slithering challenge by Mustafi to get the ball away from Harry Kane. Tottenham have a throw-in on the far side, level with the edge of the 18-yard box. It's been taken by Ben Davies. No Danny Rose nor Toby Alderweireld in the Tottenham squad today as they continue their recoveries from injury. Here's Kieran Trippier. He finds Son over on the far side. Son's never scored in a North London derby for all his recent goal-scoring exploits with the club. He's got 11 goals this season. Here's Eric Dyer, centre midfield for Tottenham, just being harried by Mkhitaryan. He's wearing the 7 shirt vacated by Alexis Sanchez. Here's Davinson Sanchez finding Kieran Trippier. Trippier trying to pick out Ali. Well read by Koscielny, who tidies up for Arsenal. Ball has somehow kept itself in play. It bounced on the line. Good start by Spurs.
Fantastic start by Spurs. It looks like that they're pinning Arsenal back into their defensive half, and it really is a really attacking, open game so far. Yeah. And it's probably what we were expecting, John. In the North London derby, it's all just going to be, blood and thunder. Try and get your first couple of tackles and try and just get a little bit of that nervous energy out of your system.
Arsenal, of course, have a very poor away record this season. They've only won 3 outside the Emirates. They've lost on their last 2 visits to teams you would have expected them to beat. Swansea in the league and Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup. Haven't won in 5 games away from home. Spurs, by contrast, have gone 12 home games without defeat, winning 10 of those. Here's Kieran Trippier again, right hand side. Positive start by Spurs. Trippier flicks his way past Mkhitaryan. Sanchez just plays it across to Vertonghen, who finds Eric Dyer. Dyer clipping it forward to poor ball, and Petr Cech, wearing that protective headgear with which we're so familiar now, comes out and gathers the ball. I think his fitness is a key issue, because Ospina, there are always question marks about him, and given Tottenham's attacking prowess, I think Cech could be vital.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting as well in the first couple of minutes of the game just how both teams are looking to try and get that runners in behind. We saw Dele Alli breaking in behind Laurent Koscielny, trying to get into the corner, trying to win a corner from the cross that he played off the Arsenal defender. Eventually it was easily cleared, but this time we've seen Aubameyang at the opposite, making that run in behind the defence, and this time he has won a corner off Davinson Sanchez.
4 minutes gone. First corner of the game goes the way of the Gunners. So a potential test for Hugo Lloris, Aubameyang, Koscielny, Mustafi and Mkhitaryan all in the penalty area. Good solid header away by Tottenham Hotspur. Comes out to Jack Wilshere. Now Mohamed El Neni plays a raking ball across field. I don't think Mesut Ozil is going to get there. He's not. Plenty of Tottenham fans tweeting us. Tim says, listening to Spurs from Philadelphia, keep North London blue. Wusu, Eniola, Samuel. Tottenham surely have an edge with Dembele in midfield. Keep them coming. Any Arsenal fans out there would like to counter? I'm going to pull you up for bias.
Surely, am I allowed to be biased, considering I'm not a former Arsenal player?
Only marginally, not consistently. Here's Son. Left-hand side for Spurs, not much support, but Kane's arriving in the box now. Son tries to step over and keep the ball away from Mustafi, which he's done at the moment. He still has it, the Korean player. Finds Dele Alli. Alli with a lovely ball out to Trippier. Bit of space for Trippier, who can deliver a good cross. And Mkhitaryan did really well.
I'm not sure what I was waiting for. Kieran Trippier, it was such an outstanding ball from Dele Alli with pace, real zip on the ball on this pitch, which has a lovely little sort of bit of moisture on top and allows the passes to really fly across the surface. but Trippier had so much time, took an extra second, and in the end just couldn't get that cross off, but had so much space, should have done better.
Here's Son Heung-min on the left hand side, again trying to attack Bellerin, gets past him. Bellerin blocks it with his right foot and he goes away for a corner. No Arsenal fans yet. I'm watching the game from Ghana, says @1Muller_GH. He's a Chelsea fan, but it's going to be a great attacking match from both sides. It is at the moment, and it's Tottenham's first corner of the game. Arsenal couldn't make anything of theirs. Can they test Petr Cech Spurs? 6 minutes gone at Wembley Stadium, and it's taken short and cut back to Christian Eriksen, who scored after 11 seconds, of course, against Manchester United recently, the second fastest Premier League goal of all time. Here's Dele Alli. Low ball into the box, poor one. Tottenham's delivery from out wide hasn't been great,
why did Ben Davies put that cross back to Christian Eriksen, and he's 20 yards outside the box, he's getting closed down, can't put in the cross, and you're thinking, I don't know what they were trying to do there. Clearly there was something they worked on the training ground which didn't come off, but a really poor decision to take a short corner when it's the first couple of minutes of a North London derby. Put the cross, put the corner into the box, and you have every chance of going on and doing something.
Here's Dele Alli. Spurs the better side in the opening of this game, but the player's been held up because there's an injury to Henrik Mkhitaryan, which has been cleared up. Cech punts the ball forward long up towards Aubameyang, headed away by Davinson Sanchez. Drops for Henrik Mkhitaryan, who scored in the Europa League final for Manchester United at the end of last season. Here's Granit Xhaka. They've got the winner against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Monreal floats it in, useful one towards Wilshere. Vertonghen leaves it for Trippier, who hacks it upfield. Arsenal, of course, will play Manchester City later this month here at Wembley Stadium. And they've got a fantastic record on this ground, Arsenal. Their last 9 games at Wembley, they've won them all, if you include penalty shootouts. Here's Dele Alli coming forward for Spurs, into the box towards Harry Kane, who got a very slight touch on it, prodded it goalwards, and Petr Cech just pushed it around his post, and Spurs have another corner.
Well, this is just a perfect example of the link-up play between Harry Kane and Dele Alli, because it was that ball into Harry Kane who just dinked it round the corner, allowed Dele Alli, suddenly he's running in on the Petr Cech goal.
And again, the corner's been taken short. Son Heung-min, here's the cross in. It's a poor one by Ali, straight into the hands of Petr Cech. It was Mustafi, incidentally, not Kane, who got the toe poke forward. Suddenly here's Aubameyang coming forward, and Henrik Mkhitaryan for Arsenal on the counter-attack tries to return the compliment by spinning it across towards Aubameyang. It's going to be kept in on the far side by Mesut Ozil, who finds Jack Wilshere shaven-headed, shoots left-footed. Wilshere, it cannons back towards El Neni, who's going away from goal at the moment. Mesut Ozil rolls it into Granit Xhaka. It's been a really good watch the opening 9 minutes, and the promise of a hugely entertaining match. Here's Monreal, who's been an unusual provider of goals this season for Arsenal. He's got 4. Here's Mkhitaryan, who assisted 3 goals against Everton at the Emirates last weekend. Monreal again, left-hand side, rolls it back to Mkhitaryan, who clips it away towards El Neni. Bit of space for the midfield man, who controls neatly. There's an overlap from Bellerin. El Neni goes low with the cross, and Vertonghen scoops it away.
Well, interestingly, before the game, John, we're talking about how the attacking talent on show today really is top class, as good as you could see at any game across Europe. But in the first 10 minutes, all of the attacking play has been pretty poor, almost a bit of a letdown, because it's a lot of potential, a lot of almost like huffing and puffing without any kind of substance, and you just need someone with a bit more composure. I understand it's a North London derby, it is going to be frantic, but someone out on that pitch needs to have a bit of composure in front of goal.
Here's Mesut Ozil in towards Aubameyang, solid header away by Vertonghen, but El Neni picks it up in centre midfield for Arsenal. This is Granit Xhaka, 25 yards from the Arsenal goal, not controlled by Bellerin, tidied up by Son. Ali gets in a bit of a tangle though, and eventually Dyer sweeps it away upfield towards Kane. Kane has got the better of his man, but he's been penalised, and the Tottenham fans are not happy about that, because they felt that Kane muscled his way fairly past Mustafi, but Well, there didn't seem to be much contact there. I think Tottenham are a bit unfortunate.
I think whenever you just look at the replay, Harry Kane probably just takes his eyes off the ball, and I think that's why Anthony Taylor, the referee, has probably maybe just got that right.
Here's Petr Cech. Ball is forward fairly innocuously. The Arsenal Twitter backlash has begun. BOS listening from Lagos says, come on you Gunners, a lot of bullets in your guns today, keep North London red. And Alexander Adimeji is an Arsenal fan, also from Nigeria. I think Arsenal will have the edge in this one. It's certainly Tottenham had the better of the opening 5 minutes, but Arsenal are beginning to push and probe now. Here's Wilshere, just flips it out wide to Hector Bellerin, who finds Wilshere again. That's a lovely ball. Here's Aubameyang, he's offside.
Wow, that was
a great ball by Wilshere.
I was just about to say that, John. Wilshere, whenever he almost allowed the ball to run across his body, suddenly Aubameyang just gave him a little point. He's actually, oh my goodness, it's so tight. You know, if I'm looking at it and on our monitor, the play had actually frozen, so it looked like he was just on the verge. I think Kieran Trippier was playing him on, but he was just the other side of Jan Vertonghen. But Trippier could have been playing him on, but it is so tight to call and understand. And if the
marginal.
Yeah, if the assistant referee doesn't know exactly.
Eriksen in and headed away from Kane, and crucially so by Koscielny. It's a lovely curling ball in with pace by the Dane. And Koscielny did his job well.
And you actually said before the game, you know, what's Aubameyang going to bring to this team? Well, that's it.
Yes.
It's just playing on that last defender's shoulder, and it was a split second and he was gone, and that's a possibility he always has.
Terrific atmosphere as you'd expect inside Wembley Stadium. 12 and a half minutes gone in the North London derby. Tottenham 0, Arsenal 0, with Eric Dyer in centre midfield for Spurs. Swapping passes with Christian Eriksen. Here's Moussa Dembele trying to find Son Heung-min, who's looking to get beyond. Ozil does that but can't get his cross beyond Bellerin, who clears it away towards the far side. It's kept in play by Moussa Dembele, who finds Ben Davis. And now Dyer in centre midfield for Tottenham Hotspur, finding Eriksen. Dyer again to Vertonghen. It's patient this from Spurs, who are waiting perhaps to pick their moment for a bit of cut and thrust. Here's Eriksen, who can generally provide that, finding Son Heung-min over on the left hand side, looking to take on Bellerin. It's Son trying to get to the byline, still has it, and it's blocked by Bellerin. It's going to be a corner kick.
But it's brilliant. It's brilliant, John, because Spurs are just closing Arsenal almost into their final third. Virtually every player on the edge of the 18-yard box for Arsenal, which is allowing the likes of Son Heung-min on the right hand side or left hand side, and been able to just keep running at Hector Bellerin. And because he keeps doing that, Spurs consistently getting corners, great opportunities.
Eriksen will take this corner, swirling it in with his right foot. Oh, and a header by Dyer, who got up there, and it flashed off his forehead, but a good way wide in the end.
It was, and I think it was Eric Dyer had about 4 Arsenal players around him, and he still manages to get that head on the ball. And it's Jan Vertonghen who just escapes Henrik Mkhitaryan and could have possibly got his head on it. But this is what I'm saying. If Son continues to run at Hector Bellerin, whether he gets across it or gets the corners, it really doesn't matter, because there's just more and more sustained pressure on Arsenal's defence.
No goals here yet. The last team to prevent Tottenham Hotspur from scoring in a Premier League match were Arsenal at the Emirates back in November, winning by 2-0. Shkodran Mustafi and the now departed Alexis Sanchez on target in that win. It was Arsenal's first against Tottenham in 7 games. Here's Mkhitaryan back to Monreal, who with his left foot sweeps it up into Tottenham territory. Dyer heads it back. El Neni finds Wilshere to Xhaka. Wilshere looks as if he's on his game today, doesn't he? I've got this feeling, Wilshere, I mean, he's had a strange career, a lot of injuries, a loan spell at Bournemouth last season. I've got a sneaking suspicion, you know, that if Wilshere carries on the way, he might sneak into the England squad for the World Cup. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it's weird, because you think, well, is he good enough to be an Arsenal player? If he's not, why is he gone out on loan? Or if he is, why is he gone out on loan? If he's not, and he should be in this team, then why is he not playing more and also just more consistent performances? But there is definitely something that I really, really like about Jack Wilshere.
Yeah.
His quality on the ball. You could possibly, maybe have a few question marks over his temperament.
Yes.
But like we just saw with that first-time ball through to Aubameyang, that's the kind of quality he can produce.
I agree. I think you're absolutely right. I think he's got the talent, but the temperament has been questionable.
But I would even throw the athleticism in there as well. He doesn't look like an athlete. Just his way he gets around the pitch, he's very laboured, but still good enough to play in the Premier League. But it's just not that he's not an outstanding athlete in the Premier League.
Here's Son Heung-min, just shepherded the ball away from Bellerin, and he's found Dele Alli. Referee's played a good advantage here. Dele Alli left-hand side for Spurs. Only Kane in the box. Eriksen arriving now. This is Son. Quick feet by the career. This is a lovely run by Son Heung-min, and it's blocked by Bellerin. And back it comes to Davis. Davis's cross headed up, but not really, away by Xhaka. Wilshere needs to complete the clearance and hooks it with his left foot up towards halfway. The Tottenham fans start to make themselves heard. They believe they've got some momentum here. Davis again, left-hand side, the former Swansea fullback, scored for Swansea in a game against Arsenal once upon a time as well, and he doesn't get too many. Here's Dembele finding Dyer in the centre of the field. Dyer chips it away. It's a decent looking ball to Trippier, but it's just bounced in front of the Tottenham right fullback and bounced away behind. But that was a decent little spell from Spurs.
And again, it just seems to be the opening 16, 17 minutes here. Whenever Spurs have the ball, they are pushing Arsenal all the way back, virtually to the edge of their 18-yard box. I think Arsenal are happy to concede that kind of areas on the pitch and just say, right, okay, you're probably going to have more possession, but we're happy to just sit back and take up as much pressure as you can.
Sodlow shot. Tried his luck from distance. It was hit reasonably firmly with the right foot, but nowhere near enough pace on it to trouble Petr Cech, who of course is stuck on 199 clean sheets. It seems to have taken him an eternity stuck on that figure. He'll be very, very happy if he can make it a record 200 today. Here's Ozil for Arsenal, away towards Bellerin. It's a lovely ball. Bellerin controls it, plays a volley cross. Wiltshire trying to hit it on the volley, couldn't get it right. Got a second attempt, found Bellerin, flying header away by Vertonghen, finds Dele Alli. It's a shame Wiltshire didn't connect there, because it was sitting up nicely for him, and he got his feet in a bit of a tangle as he tried to volley the ball goalwards, and nothing came of it.
No, but then once Dele Alli suddenly finds himself on the edge of the box, a lovely, probably 60, 70 yard pass, and all it is just a race between Mustafi and Harry Kane. Eventually Mustafi gets there first and puts it out for a throw, but that's what you do have whenever Arsenal are going to counter-attack. It's almost like 1v1 at the back for Arsenal at times, and Harry Kane, you would fancy him in a race against Mustafi.
Yeah. Ball is just about been kept in by Son, but his header has gone straight to Ozil. Now Xhaka, now Wilshere just trying to ease his way beyond Dele Alli. He's done that. He's gone tumbling down. No foul, says Anthony Taylor. So Son Heung-min will bring the ball forward down the left-hand side. He's played pretty much as a left winger, Son, today. Here's Dembele, and now Eriksen, centre midfield. Just pushes it back to Davinson Sanchez. Tottenham again enjoying a feel of the ball and patient probing play, trying to roll it through. In the end it goes beyond Koscielny and harmlessly into Petr Cech. Arsenal haven't won an away game since late December. We're looking again at the offside decision. It looks as if Aubameyang was just onside, but you'd have to say in real time that is a very, very difficult call for the assistant referee.
Virtually impossible.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can notice that one, and it's just probably just shows again with the officials, whether you think they do a good job or not, just how difficult it is.
They do a hard job, that's for sure. I do think I'm a great believer in respecting officials, and I do think too many people in football do not respect them.
I agree.
Some of the comments from managers are appalling. They'll blame referees for anything rather than blame their own players' shortcomings. Anyway, here's Dele Alli, intercepted by Xhaka, but Son has won it back and found Moussa Dembele out to Ben Davis on the halfway line, far side. Elects to go all the way back to Lloris, who's been the quieter of the two keepers.
Well, it's actually
Cech has had a couple of saves, neither of them particularly tested.
I was going to say it's probably nothing that they haven't dealt with 1,000 times before, and it's like there's a lot of good build-up play, but even when I talk about when Son's running with the ball against Bellerin, he's still not really getting across it, even though he's winning corners, which is still still a good positive move for Spurs, but it's just not quite good enough to be able to get any kind of shots on goal or any real trouble in either keeper.
Route one from Arsenal, but Aubameyang can't get there. Vertonghen's done well in the air against Aubameyang so far today. Here's Dembele for Tottenham Hotspur, yet to score this season in 27 games. Here's Little's pinched it for Arsenal. Finds Jack Wilshere over on the corner of the 18-yard box. Wilshere pivots away and finds Xhaka. Xhaka to Nacho Monreal. Monreal to Mkhitaryan for Arsenal. The Armenian clips across in. It's not a good one. You can hear the ironic cheers from the Tottenham fans there as the ball goes way over Aubameyang and Ozil and ends up in the gloves of Lloris. 21 minutes played at Wembley Stadium. Tottenham 0, Arsenal 0 in the North London derby. Harry Kane, who's had a fairly quiet game so far, slides in and Tottenham managed to keep possession. Vertonghen rolls it across to Davinson Sanchez, the 21-year-old Colombian who joined the club from Ajax. He was in the team that Mkhitaryan's Manchester United beat in the Europa League final last season. Here's Eriksen. He's overhit the pass. It was a good idea, but he's put too much on it and Trippier was never going to get there.
And you mentioned Harry Kane being quiet, and I probably would have put a couple of other players into that bracket too. Mesut Ozil has been very quiet in the opening sort of 20-odd minutes. Mkhitaryan's been okay, he's been on the ball, but hasn't really done much. So there's probably quite a few, even Aubameyang, there's not really too many players in that attacking sense have been good, have really sort of stood out in the opening quarter of the game.
Wusu Eniola Samuel asks any reason why Aaron Ramsey is not included in the starting lineup. He is injured. I wasn't aware of him struggling with injury in the run-up to the game, but he is not in the squad, and he is out with an injury unspecified.
And you just think with his performance last week,
yes,
if he were fit, then he'd got to be first name on the team sheet today, but obviously he's not available. And Arsenal have needed to bring in Jack Wilshere to replace him, and of course El Neni as well, centre midfield.
Here's Xhaka, just knocked over by Moussa Dembele. Do Eric Ampofo go Arsenal, listening live from Accra, Ghana on City FM. Hope you're enjoying it. Here's Mkhitaryan for Arsenal. He's swept it out of play.
Granit Xhaka is a strange one, isn't he? Because he seems to be a real favourite from Arsene Wenger. Has him in the team every single week, and yet I'm just not the biggest fan of his. I see him playing in there, and I know you've got to have that holding defensive midfielder, but I just don't. I'd rather, if we're talking about Jack Wilshere, I'd rather see Jack Wilshere in that holding midfield position and allowing his passing ability to start dictating a little bit more for Arsenal, rather than having Granit Xhaka in there.
Our old mate Robin Michael Thompson, Brazil. It's a very lengthy tweet. I haven't got time to read it all. The gist of it is, has Wembley Stadium lost a little bit of its cup magic now that Spurs are using it week in, week out? Obviously Arsenal will be here against Manchester City in the League Cup. He's a Liverpool fan, and obviously said that in the old days Wembley was like a second home to Liverpool.
Yeah, that's the old days. Although the problem is that, okay, Spurs might play there all the time, but actually all of the other clubs don't get an opportunity, of course, unless you're playing in the Premier League. So I don't think it has lost its magic.
No, I don't think Newport County's players who were here in midweek
Can you imagine?
They'll be telling their grandchildren about the fact they played at Wembley.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's one of those things. Funnily enough, I flew back from Germany this week, flew right over the new White Hart Lane with the cranes. It really is rising up there. It's dominating the landscape in North London. It really is. When you look at it from a height, from a plane, goodness me, it's rising from the ashes of the old White Hart Lane. It's going to be a fantastic arena.
And have you seen with it almost like the virtual reality of what it is? The glass,
it's like a luxury hotel, isn't it?
It's just the way stadia are going around the UK now. And I guess, of course, it a lot to do with the way Wembley was built, the way the Emirates were built. It's almost the expectations now of Premier League fans when they're going to football games. This is the quality in the standard they want to see.
Here's Dyer finding Trippier, right hand side, controls it beautifully, plays it in. Little flick by Eriksen, doesn't get enough on it. It just loops up off his head. And Petr Cech under his crossbar makes a very, very comfortable catch. Lovely ball initially. Trippier, decent measured cross, difficult chance for Eriksen, who's not renowned for his heading ability.
That was so funny, John. You're almost reading my mind, because I was almost saying that as he's headed that, he hasn't actually put his neck muscles in it the way you would head a ball. He almost kept his neck perfectly still and his head still, and allowed the ball to hit his head. And you just think he's clearly not a natural header of the ball, is he?
He does have other qualities, though, there's no doubt about that.
Top class, top class.
Looking forward to seeing him in the World Cup. Denmark back, of course, this summer. It's not too far away now. Spurs have lost the ball in midfield, but quickly won it back. Just for a moment, there was a bit of careless play in the middle of their own half. Moussa Dembele pushes it out wide to Ben Davies. 25 minutes played, still 0-0 here. Remember, only one goalless draw in the last 46 competitive encounters between these two sides. Xhaka for Arsenal, who've been second best overall, but Tottenham haven't really damaged them yet, have they? Here's Son looking to do that left-hand side, confronted by Bellerin and Wilshere. Leaves it for Eriksson. Davies has gone on an overlapping run. Eriksson's crossing, great one! Kane! Oh, it was a great chance. That's the best chance of the game so far. Lovely cross by Eriksson. And Arsenal switched off, and Harry Kane could only put his header over the bar. He was just onside, perfectly timed run. Kane will think he should have done better.
Well, ironically, we've just talked about Christian Eriksen and his heading ability and how that's not what his game's all about. It's this quality precision on the ball, the cross in, and Harry Kane almost didn't even need to put any power onto the ball. He just needed to let the ball glance off his head, probably similar to what Christian Eriksen did moments ago, and because Harry Kane's put too much on it, sailed over the bar.
Scorer and misser of a penalty on Sunday at Anfield. Almost got his 7th goal in 7 games against Arsenal. Here's Son Heung-min. Tottenham definitely the better side. Son tries to find Eriksson. Arsenal scrape it away from him, and then chancy ball by El Neni, who put Bellerin under real pressure there on the edge of his box, but Bellerin managed to make something of it. That wasn't very clever defending by Mohamed El Neni.
Well, I really would like to know what he was thinking there. He's the last defender. He's virtually standing on the penalty spot, and he's playing the ball to Bellerin, who's almost got his back to Son, closing down, or I think it was Dele Alli was closing him down. And just clear the lines, just clear the ball as far up the pitch as you can. There's no need to try and play your way out of possession there.
Just watching a replay of Harry Kane's header. He was... Well, first thing to say is it was a presentable chance, and secondly, Arsenal can't afford to do that too often, can they? Give Harry Kane the freedom of the penalty area. Here's Ozil. It was a well-intentioned ball towards Mkhitaryan, but he's put too much on it. Lloris, wearing all yellow, comes scampering out of his penalty area. Lloris has only ever kept 1 clean sheet in 12 games against Arsenal. Here's Dembele, centre midfield probing, finding Eriksson, who's becoming increasingly influential as time goes on. Dyer just flicks it square to Vertonghen. Here's Son, clever ball into Dele Alli. That's going to be a corner to Spurs, with Mustafi just toe poking it beyond Dele Alli and behind for a corner kick. Dele Alli scored against Arsenal in a 2-0 win last season, the last derby at the old White Hart Lane. Spurs have a corner with 28.5 minutes play for Tongan, Dyer, Kane, all obvious targets with their height.
Well,
Tottenham's 4th corner of the game.
I'm seeing Pierre Aubameyang on Eric Dyer, and that is a bit of a mixed match.
Back in by Trippier. Dembele shoots! And Dyer was there but couldn't get anything on it. Dembele's shot was off target, and it landed rather unexpectedly at the feet of Eric Dyer, who didn't really have time to react, and he just scuffed it. But that was another scare for Arsenal. Had Dyer got his instep around the ball, it might have been 1-0.
Well, I just mentioned the fact that Aubameyang is coming back, and his defensive role whenever Arsenal are defending corners is to pick up Eric Dyer, and I don't know what Arsene Wenger's thinking there, because Eric Dyer is one of the most dangerous players in the air for Spurs, and Aubameyang clearly not a very good defender in the air. So whenever you have that, and of course whenever Moussa Dembele has that shot, it's Eric Dyer who gets his foot on it, and whereas Aubameyang about 10 yards away from him. So I'm not sure what Arsene Wenger's thinking.
They always say that a team defends from the front, and you need your strikers to be savvy defensive-wise. Is Aubameyang perhaps not quite the ticket in that department? Actually, Aubameyang has had Arsenal's best chance, albeit ruled off by a slightly controversial offside flag. Aubameyang's last derby, I think, in Germany was Dortmund-Schalke, and he scored and got sent off in a game which Dortmund led 4-0 and ended up drawing 4-4. So his derby experience recently has been pretty astonishing. This game hasn't been quite as dramatic as that. It's probably just fallen perhaps below the entertainment standards we were expecting with half an hour gone, but here's Aubameyang picking it up for Arsenal. Really good tackle by Son, flicked by Ozil, intercepted by Vertonghen. Davies halfway knocks it forward towards Harry Kane, who controls beautifully and finds Ali. Eriksen's arriving in the box, but Ali's ball is poor. Final ball not great from Tottenham. That's the problem at the moment.
It's not just Spurs, it's Arsenal as well. But it probably looks worse because Spurs are having more attack and play. They're having more possession in the Arsenal defensive half, and that time Christian Eriksen makes a real long bursting run trying to get into the box, and Dele Alli is just simply not on his game today. He's causing a few problems, but it's not what we expect from Dele Alli, one of the most gifted young players in the Premier League, and he's just not quite hitting those heights today.
Peter Jose Barnes is listening on City FM in Ghana. Spurs have Juventus in mind. I think Arsenal are going to get a last minute win. I don't believe Tottenham Hotspur are thinking about Juve. I'm sorry. In a North London derby, well, the manager will soon sort them out if they are. To throw into Arsenal, it's getting heavier, the rain now. It started as a light flurry or shower, but it's beginning to come down quite consistently now, and the pitch is getting a little bit more slippery.
And you'd almost say in a selfish way that's good for us,
yes,
to be able to see probably a few more mistakes, maybe possibly it could lead to a goal.
Hakuna Matata's listening in Ghana and thinks the game shouldn't end goalless at half time, but it is goalless at the moment, and we've got 13 minutes to go till the interval as Mustafi robs Harry Kane. Mustafi, one of the scorers at the Emirates back in November when Arsenal won by 2-0, and they weren't really favourites in that game, were they, Arsenal, at the time? Everyone expected Tottenham to win that one, but obviously sometimes form goes out of the window in games like this.
Generally.
Yeah.
Just sometimes generally that happens.
Here's Dyer, centre midfield for Tottenham Hotspur, who've done most of the attacking but not really produced, other than Kane's header over, a really clear-cut opportunity. Dyer again wearing 15, just inside the Arsenal half. Poor ball, El Neni with the header clear. Finds Granit Xhaka wearing gloves down to Wilshere. Wilshere with a well-intentioned first-time ball. Well defended by Tottenham though. Dele Alli on the halfway line plays it square to Moussa Dembele. Davis wants it played out left. Dembele for the time being has gone the other way. Finds Eriksen. Eriksen to Dyer. And now Dembele just surging forward through the centre, flicking the ball past Aubameyang and trying to find Dele Alli. Good tackle by El Neni and a good dummy by Xhaka, and suddenly Arsenal are on their way with Mesut Ozil. Bellerin is screaming down the right wing with his tremendous pace. First time cross by Bellerin, trying to find Xhaka. Cleared for Spurs, but Bellerin will pick it up again.
I think you need to say a terrible first time cross there from Bellerin, but it is because they've done so well to break away, get down the right hand side. Ozil plays a lovely ball so he can't put that first time ball in, and it's so poor, so bad behind every single Arsenal player in the box.
Here's Wilshere, looks to play in Mkhitaryan.
Oh my goodness,
it's a strange ball. He's hit it hard first time. Very odd indeed. What was he doing? He could have had a shot then. Benger's face is like thunder. He's come out to the edge of his technical area wearing a huge anorak against the rain. What on earth was Mkhitaryan trying to do?
What he's trying to do is, the ball's on his left foot, he's on the left hand side of the box, he sees Aubameyang ahead of all the Spurs defenders, he's just trying to guide it across the 6-yard box, play it into the path of Aubameyang. If he got there, probably would have been a tap-in and then to give Arsenal the lead, but because it was so mishit, because it was such poor technique, it's gone out for a throw-in.
Well, it's still goalless. We're 10 minutes away from half-time between these two great rivals, separated by a street that goes across North London. You may have seen it, the Seven Sisters Road, which pretty much connects the Emirates with White Hart Lane at least, which of course is Tottenham Hotspur's spiritual and future home. The other side, we're in North West London here in Wembley, which is not really anywhere near Arsenal or Spurs' traditional venues. You're more likely to support maybe Chelsea. I don't know if you come from these parts, or even Watford. Yeah, here's Monreal towards Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan tries to control. Good defending by Davinson Sanchez, who got in and pinched it away from Armenia's record international goal scorer very quickly there. Sanchez again tidily back into Lloris, who hasn't had a great deal to do. Trippier heads it forward now. Eriksen in a bit of space, and you can feel the expectation from the Spurs fans, but Jack Wilshere has ended that with a timely intervention. Here's Monreal, poor ball. Sanchez intercepts. Trippier on halfway for Spurs, near right hand side of Wembley Stadium. We're looking at the game from the other side, from the tunnel, which is where the posh seats are. Here's Ben Davies for Spurs into the space in front of Kieran Trippier. Trippier looks to deliver, not a good cross. Koscielny just whacks it away with his side foot, and the danger is cleared for the time being.
Sure about the stats there, but
first half,
full house at Wembley.
Really poor crosses.
You would think.
And what I'm even more, surprised at is the fact that Kieran Trippier is normally outstanding when it gets an opportunity to cross the ball, and he has normally put so much swerve, pace, dip on his crosses, but every time he's been down that right hand side, it's been disappointing to say the least.
Here's Dembele, centre midfield. Eriksen pushes it back to Dyer, and now Trippier, who drifts infield from his station out on the right hand side. Eriksen is in centre midfield. Again, the ball is poor and comes to nothing. Liam Dempsey says he's hoping Arsenal can follow the Eagles' lead and beat the odds to capture a trophy this year. I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, I presume, who won an extraordinary Super Bowl final, one of the greatest ever.
Incredible,
last week. I must confess I didn't watch it.
Well, I'm just back from Philadelphia, and I was there whenever they won the game to get into the Super Bowl. So yeah, incredible time, incredible atmosphere around the city.
Free kick to Tottenham Hotspur for a foul by Mustafi on that's a handball by Mustafi, who went through Son Heung-min and then patted the ball away with his left hand. So Spurs will have a free kick in a useful position here.
Just waiting to see Christian Eriksen as he's placing this ball down, and I don't know why so many of the Spurs players were over and berating the referee, because it was a free kick, right? Great, let's get on with it. Why are you arguing with the referee for so long?
Waste of time. Here's Eriksen, delivers, header up rather than away by Mustafi, who then heads again to get it away towards the far side. It drops for Ben Davies, who tries to find Son, and Aubameyang has just about prevented the ball from going for a corner. In fact, he's done better than that. He's knocked it out via a Tottenham shin for a throw-in. John Yurkun says Mkhitaryan is painfully doing his best to cast shadows over what was a beast of a performance last week. Dreadfully inconsistent, he says. Would you agree? Is that a problem with him?
I'm not sure it is. I think it's more just the fact that Arsenal, as an attacking sense, just haven't really been haven't been able to show much, because Spurs have pretty much dominated most of the half, not in terms of danger, in the fact that they've been better, just more that they've had more possession.
Here is Mkhitaryan. That's a good burst and a good ball. Comes out to Ozil. Ozil flips it through. Monreal with a downward header, and Sanchez is there in front of Aubameyang to make sure it didn't reach the former Borussia Dortmund striker, but that was better from Arsenal. And having just questioned Mkhitaryan, he produced a really good burst and a good ball there.
Yeah, and I think it was probably Aubameyang who maybe just didn't react just as quickly as Sanchez did whenever he got in ahead of him. But if Aubameyang had realised that Monreal was going to head that back across rather than trying to take a touch, he might have got possibly in front of the defender.
Aubameyang scored 40 goals last season, 21 for Dortmund this season before he joined Arsenal. He had his fair share of disciplinary disagreements with the Dortmund management. But, as we mentioned before, 4 goals against Tottenham in games between Spurs and Dortmund, 1 in the Champions League, 3 in Europa League games. Here's Ozil for Arsenal, and then he lets it run through to Bellerin. Bellerin might strike it! And it's really Arsenal's first genuine shot in anger, and it's not a very good one by Bellerin. He hit it from the far corner of the 18-yard box with his right foot, but it was always spinning a long way over the bar. That came with 5 minutes to go to half time.
Yeah, it's weird, because a lot of the of the really good plays coming through Ozil at the minute. He's the one that's just always, as you expect from Ozil, he's picking the pass. He always seems to make the right decision when he's on the ball, but it seems to keep going out to Bellerin down that right hand side. It just isn't good enough in attacking sense in my mind to be playing in that Arsenal team, because you just want someone who has more quality, more ability to pick a pass, where Bellerin feels like he's just in there purely because of his pace.
Cech gets it back into play. And we're approaching half-time without a goal, which is unusual, as we've said, in this fixture. Here's Davinson Sanchez finding Vertonghen, who's going nowhere at the moment, so he just pushes it back to Hugo Lloris, wearing all yellow today. Forward by Vertonghen, up towards Son, beaten in the air by Bellerin. Mustafi and Dele Alli, I should say, clash on the far side of the field. There was a coming together. They look fairly accidental. The two managers are getting soaked as they get to the very edge of their technical areas to try and get a better view of things. I think Dele Alli was fouled by Mustafi. It's has the referee given?
I think the referee's given a free kick, yeah. I think it's because Dele Alli probably went in with a bit of a straight leg, even though both of the players were almost stretching for the ball, so it was pretty dangerous in any way. Just more the fact that Dele Alli looked like he had his legs straight, and as Mustafi tried to clear the ball.
Loads of tweets, keep them coming. Apologies if I can't read them out, to be honest. If I read them all, you wouldn't know anything about the game. I was just reading tweets and not actually doing what I'm supposed to do. Here's Eric Dyer inside Tottenham territory with a ball forward to Son Heung-min. He tries to clip it down the line to Davies first time. Bellerin, who's blocked most of what's come down that left-hand side from Tottenham Hotspur, did so again. We've got 3 minutes just under to go to half-time. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Arsenal 0 in this fourth Wembley meeting between these two sides, the most famous of which was in 1991 when Paul Gascoigne scored one of the most unbelievable free kicks you'll ever see.
Probably
the Spurs in the cup. So yeah, Gary Lineker got a couple as well, and I think Alan Smith scored for Arsenal.
He did.
Yeah,
header at the far post.
Yeah, and they went on to win the cup, Tottenham, in another final which was memorable for Gascoigne, going mad and injuring himself in a ridiculous challenge on Gary Charles, but Spurs won the cup 2-1 against Nottingham Forest from a goal down. Here's Wilshere, fouled by Dembele. Wilshere goes down holding his head. Dembele's being harangued by Xhaka. The rain is still coming down hard at Wembley Stadium. I mean, it's been reasonably compelling, but not perhaps the thriller.
I think it's the quality.
It might have
it's
been,
the quality, John, isn't it? It's like energy's good. You know, both teams clearly going for it. They're trying their best to get themselves into good positions in attacking sense. But actually, it's just been once they've been there, they haven't really been able to. The ability to produce that either cross, slip, slide rule ball just hasn't really happened.
Here's Ozil, dummy by Aubameyang, doesn't find its way through to Mkhitaryan though. Trippier is able to get it away. Ericsson back to Lloris under pressure from Aubameyang, does well to get the ball out to the left-hand side. Ben Davies looking for some sort of option ahead of him, and Son provides it, trying to wriggle away from the attentions of Bellerin. Good play by Son Heung-min. Intercepted by Mustafi. It's rather ragged at the moment. We're in the final minute of the 45. I don't think it'll be a huge amount of stoppage time added on. Mercifully, we haven't seen either of the physio teams on the pitch, which is good. And I don't think Anthony Taylor in his first North London derby as a referee is going to add on too much time. Here's Dembele finding Kane. Kane just shrugging himself away from Monreal and finding Trippier. Back to Kane again, centre midfield. It's a useful looking ball. It's floated beautifully across towards Son. Here's Ericsson. First time cross by Ericsson, headed up by Koscielny. Trippier's underneath it, tries to find Kane. Arsenal head it clear and then thump it away. That was a better delivery from the left-hand side than we've seen generally today. And that is half-time. Virtually no time added on at all in the rain at Wembley Stadium. It's been compelling without being thrilling. as Paul said, there's been a little bit of a lack of quality as the two teams head for the sanctuary of the dressing rooms at the interval in the North London derby at Wembley Stadium. Half-time, it is Tottenham Hotspur 0, Arsenal 0. You're listening to Premier League.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Barclays Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered.
Gets away from another, comes it into the top corner. It is a moment of Merseyside magic from Mo Salah. He's done it again. His 19th of the season.
TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live.
Where's the throw in the penalty area? Dips one. Oh, that is a magnificent goal from Jermaine Defoe. Absolutely stunning from Jermaine Defoe.
Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Lanzini back to Arnautovic. He's inside the box. There is his first goal for West Ham. Arnautovic took it beautifully. He curled it low past Courtois.
Hear goals as they go in from around the grounds during our featured commentary match.
Rolls it into the feet. Little layup. Arfield going to get punched back 5 minutes. 1-0. Arfield opens the scoring in the 45th minute. Burnley's strike against the 10th man of Watford.
Every game is covered.
Boy lifts it in left-footed. It's a deep cross. It's headed on by Meunier, and it's 2 for Meunier. Well, like London buses, the goals are now pouring in for Steve Meunier.
Get involved in debates, ask in-game questions to our commentary team, and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Here's Gale.
Good shot, goal! Dwight Gale's put Newcastle level. Crisp low shot from the edge of the penalty area. Low pass, Schmeichel in a flag.
This is Premier League Live.
Crosses to Olivier Giroud. Equaliser for Arsenal. And as so often, Olivier Giroud off the bench to rescue Arsene Wenger.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game involves the two things in life you love the most.
Football and money.
Exactly predict 10 or more Premier League scores and win £1 million sterling.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game.
Register now at TalkSport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season. Win £1 million sterling.
£1 million.
Players must be 18 or over. See TalkSport.com/predictor for full conditions.
Welcome back. 0-0 at a rainy Wembley Stadium between North London's two biggest rivals. These were the highlights of the opening half. Here's Dele Alli coming forward for Spurs into the box towards Harry Kane, who got a very slight touch on it, prodded it goalwards, and Petr Cech just pushed it around his post, and Spurs have another corner. And Wilshere leaves it for Eriksen. Davies has gone on an overlapping run. Eriksen's crossing, great one. Kane! Oh, it was a great chance. That's the best chance of the game so far. Lovely cross by Eriksen. And Arsenal switched off, and Harry Kane could only put his header over the bar. Back in by Trippier. Dembele shoots! And Dyer was there but couldn't get anything on it. Dembele's shot was off target, and it landed rather unexpectedly at the feet of Eric Dyer, who didn't really have time to react. Well, those highlights would tell you that there were scruffy half chances, really, and not much more. I'm going to read this tweet from Kev. I think is it Mosley or Mousley? I'm not sure. Kevin Mosley, I think. He's saying Spurs-Arsenal is a dreadful bore, or is it a tactical battle? Which would you prefer?
It's a bore, let's be honest. Just the fact that the quality on show has been average, I would say at best. You know, especially whenever you look at what Spurs did against Manchester United or even against Liverpool, you know, they really have been fantastic in the last couple of weeks. But today, it's just not really happening at all, is it? For either side, it's not just Spurs. Arsenal, whenever they're going forward, how many times have we said, Hector Bellerin down the right hand side, failed to deliver on numerous occasions. Even Mkhitaryan, who I really rate as a player, I think he's a very, very good player, and the chance whenever he tried to play it with his left foot, crossed the Aubameyang and out for a throw-in, John, is like, sometimes there's mishits and there's just simply dreadful.
What do you put collective failure down to? I mean, Arsenal absolutely thrashed Everton last weekend.
Yep.
Tottenham played in an absolute thriller against Liverpool, having beaten Manchester United the week before. But yet, really, you look at this game, there hasn't really been one player who you could say, wow, he had a fantastic game, or he looked like making something happening. Nobody really has risen to the occasion, have they?
No, and I think that probably just shows just how difficult it is to be consistently very, very good in the Premier League, which is really what you're asking. Why aren't these teams, when one week they're fantastic, the next week they're okay, or they're way under par, and that's just, unfortunately, that's just the problem of football. It's a very, very difficult game, and of course, everything that you want to do as a team, you've got the opposition standing there, and in this case, Arsenal are dropping off and conceding so much possession, so much of the pitch, just to try and hold the fort and just stay on the edge of the 18-yard box and say, if you want to break us down, if you're good enough, have a go.
I suppose the flip side of that coin is that it can only get better, and I'm sure both managers as we speak are exhorting their players to produce rather better quality than we've seen in the first half, and the likes of an Eriksen or an Aubameyang or an Ozil or a Kane or an Ali or a Wiltshire, they're capable of doing it.
Of course they are, and that's the thing. At any stage they could come alive, and one piece of brilliance, and that might all be. But probably what it also gives us the impression is the fact that these teams are so comparison in terms of their level. They're very, very similar. The quality they have going forward, both defences are pretty good. They've got two very, very good goalkeepers. So they're so similar across all of the areas of their play and of the what they have to offer. So Spurs in 5th, Arsenal in 6th. 0-0 at half time. It just shows what a sort of equal footing they're on.
Outgone 0-0. Will the managers start shuffling the pack, you think? Will that be in their mind already?
I don't know if they would need to, and again, from a Spurs point of view, the fact that they've come in here with an unchanged team from the last time out, and you're thinking, well, is there anyone really who might add more to this game? The only one you could think is possibly he brings on Wanyama, just because that's what he seems to do. He likes to bring on Wanyama, because it's not an attacking change, but it does seem to mix things up a little bit, and I don't know whether it releases Moussa Dembele to go more advanced. So I can't really see Spurs making too many changes. For Arsenal, probably the only thing you might think is maybe bringing on Danny Welbeck for Jack Wilshere, but actually we talked about Jack Wilshere in the first half. He's been probably one of the better players, and the way he's kept the ball, and of course that chance that he nearly he did put through from Aubameyang, but just couldn't quite stay onside.
Our feature game later on is West Ham United against Watford from the London Stadium. Both of them still I wouldn't say haunted by relegation, but mildly threatened by relegation. Watford, of course, 4-1 winners extraordinarily against Chelsea on Monday night. Alex Crook and David Connolly will be bringing you full coverage of that one. Let's get the thoughts ahead of that game of the two managers, David Moyes and Javi Gracia.
Well, the players have responded really well since day one. So I think that, we didn't play well at Brighton, we know that. But I've got to say that the response the players have given since we've come in has been great.
You can win and you can lose every game. In this moment, I think the last match gives us motivation.
A good win gets us into mid-table, gets us in a really solid position. If you lose, then you're back in amongst it. So that's how tight the Premier League is at the moment. But every club will be saying the same, all the managers are saying the same, so we've got to do the business and try and get those 3 points.
We know West Ham, it will be a difficult game, and we try to prepare the best way we can.
That's coming up. We've also got Manchester City against Leicester, Everton against Crystal Palace, Stoke City against Brighton and Hove Albion, and Swansea against Burnley for you. Those are all the 3 o'clock kickoffs, English time. Every kick, every goal, every minute of every game, all season for you. Well, this one, 0-0. We said it was hard to predict. We meant before the game it would be hard to predict because there were so many potential match winners. It's now become a game that's hard to predict because you're not sure whether either team is going to improve.
No, I know, but I think it's just when we expect so much quality from both these sides, and especially coming into the game, both teams in really, really good form, and the performances that they've produced, especially in the last few weeks, you're just thinking this has got every ingredient you possibly could need for one of the best North London derbies. But probably because we talked enough, this is the reason why it's going to end up being a bit of a bore drawer. But I still have a lot of faith, a lot of hope in this second half that there's still so much to offer. And as I say, it just takes someone like a Mesut Ozil just to turn one little glance, play a ball through, and suddenly that could open the game. And once the first goal goes in, then almost you want to get back into the game, or you need to. So it could change the dynamics absolutely.
We'll find out in just a moment. The second half is coming up. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Barclays Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered.
Gets away from another, comes into the top corner. It is a moment of Merseyside magic from Mo Salah. He's done it again. His 19th of the season.
TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live.
With the ball in the penalty area. Dips one. Oh, that is a magnificent goal from Jermaine Defoe. Absolutely stunning from Jermaine Defoe.
Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Lanzini back to Arnautovic. He's inside the box. There is his first goal for West Ham. Arnautovic took it beautifully. He curled it low past Courtois.
Hear goals as they go in from around the grounds during our featured commentary match.
Rolls it into the feet. Little layup. Arfield going to get punched back. 5 minutes. 1-0. Arfield opens the scoring in the 45th minute. Burnley's strike against the 10th man of Watford.
Every game is covered.
Boy lifts it in left-footed. It's a deep cross. It's headed on by Meunier, and it's 2 for Meunier. Well, like London buses, the goals are now pouring in for Steve Meunier.
Get involved in debates, ask in-game questions to our commentary team, and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Here's Gale. Good shot, goal! Dwight Gale's put Newcastle level. Crisp low shot from the edge of the penalty area. Low pass, Schmeichel in a flag.
This is Premier League Live.
Crosses to Olivier Giroud. Equaliser for Arsenal. And as so often, Olivier Giroud off the bench to rescue Arthur Wenger.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game involves the two things in life you love the most.
Football and money.
Exactly predict 10 or more Premier League scores and win £1 million sterling.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season. Win £1 million sterling.
£1 million.
Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
Welcome to TalkSport's coverage of Tottenham Hotspur against Arsenal from Wembley Stadium. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Spurs, Norwich and Northern Ireland winger, Paul McVeigh. You're listening to Premier League Live. Welcome back. Not a memorable first half, it has to be said, given the huge standards of these two teams. Arsenal are first out onto the pitch. Tottenham still congregated in the tunnel at Wembley. Eric Dyer in deep conversation with Harry Kane and Son Heung-min. Finally they emerged for the second half in the 195th North London derby. Not one of the most memorable so far. Let's hope it improves in the second half. Too many clear-cut chances, to be honest. Arsenal should have perhaps had an opportunity when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, we felt, was wrongly flagged offside, although it was a very, very, very difficult decision for the official. Harry Kane closest for Tottenham Hotspur. Kane, of course, has a habit of scoring in these fixtures, 6 in 6. Header over the top of the bar. So, still raining at Wembley Stadium, where people are only just getting back into their seats, particularly in the hospitality areas, where they do like a elongated lunch at times here, which is frustrating. Off we go. Tottenham Hotspur wearing their traditional blue and white, Arsenal of course in their traditional red and white, both iconic strips down the years. Tottenham Hotspur haven't won the title since 1961, the year that Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. John F. Kennedy was president of the United States, and Elvis was top of the charts. Here's Dele Alli finding Son Heung-min inside the Arsenal box. Ben Davies, great start to the half by Spurs, but a great block by Mustafi to prevent Davies from getting the ball into the danger area from out wide. 30 seconds gone and Tottenham were deep in Arsenal territory there.
I was just about to say it's probably exactly what happened in the first half, where fantastic build-up play. This time was bad Spurs, but again Ben Davies has an opportunity and he tries to drill it across the near post. He's got to stand the ball up and just dink it up over to this back post, over to the second post, and allow someone to come in and attack it, because there's too many people standing in his way.
Yeah, poor crosses have been a recurring theme this afternoon at Wembley Stadium. Here's Ozil running into trouble. Davies has picked his pocket and is driving forward now, the Welshman, finding Son Heung-min. Son on the edge of the penalty area, looking to get past Bellerin and cross, and again Bellerin's blocked it. Is it always a bad cross, or is Bellerin just doing his job of blocking well?
Well, I think Son isn't really doing enough to try and get any kind of good cross in, but I think as well he's doing well in terms of the fact that he's being positive. Every time he gets the ball, he's running at Bellerin, which I'm sure as a defender he must hate that thing. Every time this guy gets the ball, I'm on the back foot, I'm going towards my own goal where I don't want to be going, and the Spurs' whole entire lineup can get themselves further up the pitch.
I'm going to read an amusing tweet in a moment. We've got time. I can't really judge, but Tulani Jones says, you Premier League commentators are so much better than NBC's in the US. The trick is syncing your audio with their video. Well, I'm glad you think that, and we're delighted to be bringing it to you, as we always are, of course. You know, people listening throughout the world, it's very gratifying to know that you've tuned in to us. Here's El Neni for Arsenal, finding Monreal, far side, still inside his own half, up towards Mkhitaryan, who's just bundled over by Kieran Trippier. You can tell from the reaction of the Tottenham Hotspur fans that they felt it was pretty soft.
Soft, to say the least. That is a terrible decision by Anthony Taylor. Henrik Mkhitaryan just decides that he wants to stand on the ball, put his foot on the ball. Trippier comes in. I don't think he even makes a tackle. He just has some pressure in terms of his body on his back.
Clearance by Czech was rather scraped away. It's come into Tottenham territory with Vertonghen, N/A-HCOM18. It's not a very catchy name. Says can't see any game changes in the Spurs team. Maybe Lucas Moura or would come on and make a difference. Here's Ozil for Arsenal, near side, beaten to it by Moussa Dembele. He's also asking about Llorente, but he's not in the squad this afternoon. Here's Eriksson finding Dyer, and now Dembele for Spurs. Davies just outside. Dembele manages to find him. Bit of space for Ben Davies. Cross is better one this time. Harry Kane meets it, and Harry Kane scores. Tottenham Hotspur lead. 4th minute of the second half. At last, a decent delivery from out wide, and Harry Kane does what he always does, particularly against Arsenal. It's his 7th goal in 7 games against the Gunners, and Spurs have the lead.
What a goal. What a header from Harry Kane. You know, we've talked about crosses all the way through the first 50 minutes of this game. They've been pretty poor on average from both sides, but this one time, Ben Davies, he must have 15 yards of space, and almost the first time that any of the teams have put in a good cross into the box, Harry Kane is up way above Lauren Koscielny, just uses the defenders, a little bit of leverage just to guide the ball into the bottom corner, and it's nothing less than you expect from a top class goal scorer.
That is an absolutely classic centre forward's header, isn't it? The way you'd be taught, get up, get above the man and power it down low so the keeper's got no chance. Absolutely textbook stuff from Kane.
And put it back into the far corner of where the goalkeeper's already coming from. So, and even if any Arsenal fans will think, was that a free kick? Was Harry Kane leveraging almost up even higher on top of Koscielny? It was just because Harry Kane has jumped early. He's already got his position set, and what a fantastic header that was.
32nd goal of the season in all competitions. He's 94th in 107 games. You just cannot keep Harry Kane down. Here's Bellerin though at the other end, and Dyer is nipping in just in front of Monreal. Harry Kane's now got 8 goals in his last 7 games, 14 in his last 11. It just goes on and on.
From Eriksen to Son.
Here's Son, tackled by Bellerin, didn't make anything of it. It was a good ball. Just trying to get through Harry Kane's statistic, which is no mean feat.
Pass of the match that was from Christian Eriksen, from right back to left wing, straight into the path of Son. Outstanding pass, and just couldn't quite make the most of it.
Quite apart from who you support, the goal was probably what the game needed. It wasn't. It's going to open it up now because Arsenal have to go for it, because if Tottenham win. Oh, here's Kane again! Oh, he's almost made it 2-0. Another cross, this time from the opposite side, the right. Kane was on the end of it this time. He's flashed his header wide. Paul McVeigh has jumped so far in the air that horrible noise you can hear is his headset rattling. Calm down.
Nearly hit the ceiling. I thought it can't be 2 great crosses, 2 Harry Kane headers, and without probably an inch of the right-hand post of Petr Cech, it almost would have been. But oh my goodness, and that's what we talked about at halftime, John. When you have that one little bit of quality, suddenly, because there are so many game changers out on the pitch, because someone just suddenly does something extra special, puts it into the path of Harry Kane, inevitably he's going to cause problems.
Well, if that had gone in, that might have put it beyond Arsenal. As it stands, if Tottenham win this game, they will have a 7-point advantage over their North London rivals. Arsenal would stay 6th, Tottenham would move up into 3rd above Liverpool. So that goal could be absolutely massive, as indeed will Arsenal's response have to be. Gunners, of course, for the first time under Arsene Wenger, failed to reach the Champions League last season. They're stuck in the Europa League. They'll play Östersunds, the Swedish club with an English manager, on Thursday. Tottenham Hotspur, meanwhile, in midweek, are against Juventus, which is a rather more glamorous European tie. Listen to the Tottenham fans at Wembley Stadium. Here's Xhaka, forward to El Neni, finds Wilshere. There's a peel away down the left-hand side. Wilshere manages to find Mkhitaryan, but manages to find Mkhitaryan in an offside position, and Arsenal are penalised. But back comes Spurs. Here's Eriksen. It's end-to-end now. Nothing like the first half at all. As Trippier tries to get the cross in. Does so. Kane into the box. Magnificent volley. Might drop for Son. Brilliant save initially by Cech. Kane got everything behind that. Thundered it. And Petr Cech, who's still waiting for that 200th clean sheet, made a wonderful save. Kane could have had a hat-trick in 3 minutes.
Well, it was just so much quality and class. And we talked about Ben Davies' cross for Harry Kane's header. This time it's Trippier on the right-hand side with a lovely nutmeg on Jack Wilshere, who dived in on the wing, on the full-back. And with that cross, Harry Kane, he's got technique, he's got class, he's got quality, and he really is turning it on the second half.
Eriksen's corner, headed away at the near post by Mohamed El Neni, but Tottenham Hotspur are in complete control of this derby at the moment. Here's Davies, another good cross by him, and again it's attacked, this time by Vertonghen. Doesn't get the header on target. Poor clearance by Mustafi. Drops kindly for Arsenal, who are at 6s and 7s at the moment. They can't get the ball out of the final third.
They are on the ropes. Arsenal are on the ropes at the minute. Spurs really are throwing everything they have at them here. And even whenever you saw Ben Davies going in for this tackle on El Net, he is absolutely gone to smash the midfielder, and very, very luckily just got his studs on the ball.
Here's Xhaka for Arsenal, rocked by that 48th minute goal by Harry Kane, who's been their nemesis so often, and so it's proved again today. Here's Dembele. Tottenham have a swagger about them now. This is Son Heung-min, near side, looking to take on Bellerin. Bellerin just can't get a foot on the ball. Son finds Dembele. Dembele to Ben Davies, who are being serenaded by their fans at the moment. Tottenham Hotspur. Bellerin away towards Wiltshire, who lose it. Arsenal still can't get it out of their own half. Kane has it. There's a man available wide on the right hand side. It's Kieran Trippier. Dyer's gone on a run forward from centre midfield to wide right, and holds it up nicely and finds Sanchez. Now Eriksen in towards the edge of the box. Koscielny with the header, which will bounce in front of Son Heung-min, who's being held, is he, by Bellerin? No, says referee Taylor, who is well placed. It's come through to Son. Son with a nutmeg. Son to Kane. Kane trying to find space for a shot, and the referee has awarded Tottenham Hotspur a free kick.
It was a free kick. It was just the fact that there was more advantage because the ball went through to Harry Kane. Suddenly you think Harry Kane's going to get the shot off. Eventually it leads to nothing, so Anthony Taylor does the right thing, brings it back for a free kick on the edge of the box. But another lovely little nutmeg from Son, this time on Mustafi. It's a couple of times we've seen that in the last couple of minutes, and Spurs really are turning on the pressure.
Well, we have a free kick in Christian Eriksen territory. It is literally 1 yard or 1 metre, if you like, outside the penalty area, just to the left of centre. Petr Cech's got some organising here to do. We know what Eriksen's capable of from this sort of distance. Takes a few steps back, the Danish international. Can he put Tottenham 2 up? Oh, brilliant save by Cech. That was arcing into the top corner, and Arsenal's 35-year-old goalkeeper had to go all the way with his left hand and make a super save.
Well, Petr Cech at his absolute best there, because I don't think Eriksen could have put that any closer to the top corner, but Cech just flew across the goal there, and even though he probably went with his wrong hand, but he probably could have saved that easier with his right hand, decided to go with his left, but it was a top-class save.
Eriksen with the corner. Tottenham need to make this current advantage count. There's the header. This time it's wide from Jan Vertonghen, the Belgian international, rising, looking for his second goal of the season, but wide of the mark.
Well, it's just got everything this game now, hasn't it? Everything that we didn't have in the first half, because we got a lot of good build-up play, but really poor deliveries. Not real much quality at all in the first half, but this first 10-12 minutes of the second half has been all Spurs. It's been all out attack, and it really has been a joy to watch.
The ball rarely in the second half is in the Tottenham half. Here's Ozil finding Bellerin. Bellerin through towards Xhaka. Xhaka is tackled by Vertonghen, who does well, and Tottenham Hotspur clear it. Ikbudu CJ says Arsenal could lose embarrassingly now. It's all about the Harry Kane show. Well, Kane is one of those players, isn't he, that he doesn't really have to necessarily participate enormously in the general play, but when he gets a chance, he'll bury it.
Well, can I just say about Dele Alli there, because whenever Jan Vertonghen did really well to win the ball back in Spurs box, and eventually it's just been cleared long, Dele Alli probably closed down maybe 70-80 metres, finally got to Mustafi as that ball's gone back towards Petr Cech. He's now run another 30 metres, closed down Petr Cech, and eventually Petr Cech kicks the ball out of play, and that just shows the momentum Spurs have. It's the extra metre they're going to run, it's the extra mile they're going to go, and Spurs really do look like a different team in the second half.
Well, Arsenal are warming up subs. Among them is Alex Iwobi, but they have been totally second best in this second half, the Gunners. Tottenham look as if they're going to get revenge for that defeat at the Emirates back in November, but a poor ball across field lands at the feet of Granit Xhaka. Xhaka finds Bellerin just inside the Tottenham Hotspur half. Bellerin again from Ozil, who scampers forward through midfield, plays another poor ball. He's not had a very good game, Ozil, at all, has he? He's not been effective. He's one of these frustrating players who can disappear, and this is one of those games for him. Here's Mkhitaryan in towards Aubameyang, doesn't get there. Dembele intercepts, and Tottenham might come forward menacingly here. Dembele loses out in midfield though to Xhaka. Xhaka forward towards Aubameyang. The pass had too much on it, and Lloris was able to get out clear, but at least Arsenal are enjoying a little bit of possession here. Ozil finding Wilshere. Wilshere, poor ball, gets a second chance. Poor ball second time as well, and cleared by Tottenham up towards the Arsenal midway point in their half, where it's defended by Koscielny.
But this is almost what you'd expect of a North London derby, isn't it? With just, both teams going for it, tackles flying in, probably less quality in this part of the game, but it's because there's so much pressure, so many of the teams are closing, or so many of the players are closing down, and this is what I would expect from North London derby. Not the first half, where it's almost like you attack, we'll let you have the ball, you let us have the ball. This is what the fans want to see.
There's Tottenham coming forward with Eriksen, who just guides it away from Monreal, still has it. The ball has just about gone out of play. Cal Ali H. Jesse says, "Oh, Harry Kane, this man must be Brazilian or Argentinian somehow. He's a goal machine." But I'll tell you what the Tottenham fans will tell you, he's not Brazilian, he's not Argentinian, he's one of our own!
But if he were Brazilian or Argentinian, he would probably add another 50 million on his price tag.
Here's Spurs looking to get forward again down the right hand side with Trippier. Nice cushion ball back to Dyer, who finds Eriksen. Eriksen to Moussa Dembele. Tottenham could quite easily be 2 or 3 goals up in this second half. Kane has twice gone close. Cech has made 2 brilliant saves, and Tottenham have got a free kick now. The 2 number 20s, Mustafi and Ali, coming together, and Dele Alli has gone down, and it's a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. A lot of talk this week about Dele Alli and diving, but that was clearly a foul.
Well, this is what he needs to do, isn't it? This is, even though he probably has been a little bit off in terms of what we expect from Dele Alli and this season's performances, today he's just running as much as he can. He's really working hard. He's getting involved in the build-up. He's now dragging Mustafi away from the penalty area in the centre of goal where he wants to be, out to the left-hand side. So he's just being a real nuisance for that Arsenal defence.
Virtually everybody in the Arsenal boxes. Eriksen delivers. Son Heung-min tries to get a back heel in. Dyer tries to flick the ball goalwards. It's come off Granit Xhaka, and the Swiss international has conceded a corner for Arsenal, who've been backs to the wall, really. I think it's fair to say in this second half we're up to 62 minutes. First 17 minutes of this half have flown past Tottenham Hotspur. Well, look for a second goal, which might prove decisive in the end. Eriksen with the corner, Cech with the punch, out to Dembele. Dembele with a really astute header, out to Eriksen, who looks to cross again. It's too close to Petr Cech, but for him Arsenal would be doomed, wouldn't they?
But you would also say as well, if there are any positives, of course, if you were wanting to be either team at the minute, you're going to say Spurs are doing better and you'd prefer to be in the Spurs team, but Arsenal have soaked up a lot of pressure, and they're still only 1-0 down, so we've got plenty of Arsenal attacking talent down there that they can drag themselves back into this game very easily.
Dele Alli far side, he's almost up to the corner flag, being shadowed by Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan gets a foot in but can't get the ball away from the England international. Ali was trying to sneak his way through. Finally Mkhitaryan gets a foot. It's another corner to Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not entirely sure of the corner count, but I can tell you Tottenham are massively ahead. Alexandre Lacazette and Alex Iwobi are about to come on for Arsenal as Arsene Wenger looks to try and change things around and change the game around with 63 minutes played. The corner is on the far side. It's going to be a right-footed outswinger from Christian Eriksen, who nearly made it 2-0 with a free kick which Cech brilliantly saved a moment ago. Here's the corner. Dele Alli is up, so too is Koscielny. Davinson Sanchez tries to volley it forward. It's gone harmlessly back to Moussa Dembele, who just veers away from Aubameyang, who's had hardly a kick second half. Here's Dembele for Spurs.
Well, when you said trying to volley it forward, I have a feeling Sanchez was trying to have a shot on the volley towards goal from like 40 yards. I'm just not sure exactly what he was thinking.
No, he hasn't scored in 26 appearances for Tottenham Hotspur. Here's a man who certainly has, Harry Kane, but he's been ruled offside. The double substitution's going to happen now.
They need to do something, don't they? You know, they really are backs against the wall at the minute, and Spurs have stepped up the energy levels, the quality, just everything. Their all-round game, they're closing down, pressing of Arsenal, and Arsenal at the minute just simply can't handle it. As we see Mkhitaryan make his way off the pitch, he has been disappointed. I really like him as a player, but he's been disappointing today. El Neni, who's just come in this week for Aaron Ramsey, he obviously has a groin injury. We believe that El Neni has been virtually anonymous throughout the entire game, so it will be coming on. And Lacazette, they need to do something because Arsenal just don't know how to deal with the quality that Spurs are showing.
Neither of the substitutes who have come on are among the goals recently. Lacazette, 1 goal in 12. That was towards the end of January against Crystal Palace. Iwobi has only got 2 goals in 34. So they're not an immediate source of goals for Arsenal. Here is Lacazette, whose first touch finds him in an offside position. 65 minutes gone at Wembley Stadium, where Tottenham are by far the better team. Now, Adrian Bailey says Trippier, as in more trippy. He ain't French, I know that. I've been calling him Trippier throughout the entire game, unless I might have mispronounced. I'm fully aware that he's not from France, he's from Manchester. Here's Vertonghen driving it forward up towards Christian Eriksen, who can't quite get a touch. This is Bellerin.
I'm not sure why he's trying to nutmeg Dele Alli in the right back position. Clearly that must be probably not the tactic that they discussed at half-time, but that's a really poor decision from Bellerin. You know, Arsenal are on the ropes. They don't know how to handle Spurs going forward. You've got the ball in the right back area, and Hector Bellerin's trying to nutmeg Dele Alli as the ball comes to him. Dele Alli's seen that so many times before. He just steps back, won the ball, and suddenly Arsenal are defending again.
Here's Wilshere trying to get forward, but he's lost it to Harry Kane.
Free kick. No, honestly though, John, that is blatantly. Harry Kane has read that like a book. Jack Wilshere, he knows he's gone in behind him. Harry Kane's got his body in between the ball and Wilshere. Wilshere runs into Harry Kane. Harry Kane's running with the ball, and for some reason, Anthony Taylor's decided he thinks that's a free kick. I don't know what else you can say apart from that is a terrible decision from Anthony Taylor.
Harry Kane certainly wasn't terribly happy with it, but it is a free kick, rightly or wrongly.
Jack Wilshere just runs into him. It's not like Harry Kane put his arm up or put his elbow across his face. He's just run into him and he's given a free kick. I don't know what the referee's seen there.
There's Mustafi finding Bellerin wide right for Arsenal. It plays a misplaced ball infield, which is intercepted by Vertonghen. Suddenly Harry Kane is on the ball. Kane just swivels away from Wilshere, plays a great ball. Here's Son Heung-min. Didn't quite get the touch he wanted to take the ball with him. He still has possession, but Arsenal have got players back. Good interception by Koscielny as Son tried to pick out Dele Alli. Hector Bellerin forward to Granit Xhaka. Back to Bellerin again. Arsenal have pretty much failed to create anything remotely approaching a chance. That's a clever dummy though by Wilshere to find Ozil, and suddenly Aubameyang is in the Tottenham box, plays a disappointed cross cleared by Dyer only as far as Wilshere. Arsenal fans wanted to shoot, he does shoot, and his curling left foot shot is held by Hugo Lloris. That's just about the hardest save Lloris has had to make all afternoon.
Well, for once we've seen Aubameyang down the left hand side just using his pace, dragging his team with him. Eventually Jack Wilshere gets a shot on goal because I don't know why Jan Vertonghen is trying to backheel that defensive clearance away, but straight into the path of Wilshere, and a really good strike, but very good save from Lloris.
Well, Arsenal at least having an effort on goal in the second half. It was their first. It came at the exact midway point of the second period. It's their first effort on target in the whole game. Tottenham have had 4 and scored one of them thanks to Harry Kane. Smokey Jones says, I agree with the other lad from the States. Your commentary is far better than anything we have over here. Well, thank you.
I think that's my dad.
That's you.
My dad's
your dad?
Again.
You've been paying
He's tweeting in again. Thanks, Dad.
Well, wherever you're watching, this second half has been unrecognisable from the first, really. It's been fantastic.
But that's what we wanted,
the first half was poor.
This is what we wanted. It's blood and thunder. It's both teams going forward. Spurs way better than Arsenal at the minute, but Arsenal still have so much to offer this game. As we just saw there, Jack Wilshere, whenever he's on the ball, he didn't even have to touch the ball. to get that attack going. He let it run. Great little dummy into the path of Ozil, plays Aubameyang, but Wilshere's probably been their best player.
Here's Dele Alli coming forward for Spurs. Son is in a great position. Oh my goodness me, you could not have missed the target by more than Son Heung-min did there. That would have cleared a pole vault bar at 6 metres. He's hoofed it so high, unbelievable. Dele Alli set him up. He's gone for the first time sweep, and it's almost gone out of the stadium.
I was just about to say, is the ball still in the stadium? That is just so bad.
Bouncing around the car park
he
somewhere.
had to hit it first time, because whenever the ball's coming across, he's got defenders, he has to hit it first time, and you could, what do you say, that was a bubble on this carpet-like pitch.
Well, Son Heung-min is going off.
Probably
there are people in the crowd waving Korean flags. Of course, the Winter Olympics is being held in Korea. I tell you what, it's cold here. It's minus 25 where the Winter Olympics are being held. But Son, incidentally, wasn't it great to see North and South Korean athletes parading together? That's my last political comment of the broadcast. Eric Lamela has come on with 20 minutes left to replace Son Heung-min. Lamela, who scored in the cup win in that replay again. Oh my goodness me, Czech has almost presented Dele Alli with a goal. It was a poor touch by Petr Cech, and back pass from Mustafi. Cech played it into Dele Alli, and he couldn't quite control it. Had he done so, he would have walked it in for 2-0, and Petr Cech, who's made 2 brilliant saves in the second half, is one relieved goalkeeper.
You know what, John, this is a perfect example of why I love the psychology and the mental side of the game, because you've got an Arsenal team on that pitch here, quality.
Oh, over the top, Dele Alli trying to poke it past Cech, and it's gone the wrong side of the post. But my goodness me, Arsenal are living so dangerously at the moment. They've gone to a complete shambles at the back. The ball given away by Koscielny. Ali was onside. It was a clever chip forward towards him, and he's toe poked it just the wrong side of the post. But it's beginning to look when rather than if Tottenham score again.
Well, what would you have given for that ball to be dropping to Harry Kane rather than Dele Alli? I didn't feel confident whenever Dele Alli was running onto the ball. He hasn't been in any kind of form that we know he can produce, and we've seen him produce over the last few seasons. But that time he's just gone a little bit early, probably a little bit too instinctive, and eventually he's just nicked it past the post. But you're right, John, Arsenal are completely gone now, on the ropes. And I was just about to say before that Dele Alli chance, the reason why I love the kind of the psychology of the game is because this Arsenal team, who normally are very good, simply don't know how to handle this.
Oh, this is a brilliant counter-attack from Tottenham Hotspur. Here's Eric Lamela into the Arsenal box, and Cech has rescued the Gunners again. Lamela with virtually his first action since coming on as a substitute, with a diagonal run into the penalty area after an excellent break by Vertonghen and a splendid ball by Ali. And Petr Cech at the foot of his post has got enough on it to just divert the ball behind for a corner.
Well, Spurs really need to capitalise on this pressure. They're doing so well, putting Arsenal on the back foot. Arsenal almost shooting themselves in the foot as well at the same time, which isn't a good combination for Arsenal. But still, the score is 1-0, and Spurs really need to get this second goal to try and kill this game off.
17 and a half minutes left. Christian Eriksen with the corner from the far side. The Dane with a high hanging out swinger. It's nodded away by Bellerin. It hits Lacazette. Bellerin picks it up again. Arsenal have been absolutely battered in the second half by Tottenham. I can't remember a North London derby in the second half where one team has been so dominant. It's normally a close fought affair, but Tottenham have absolutely dominated things. Here's Alex Iwobi, gives it away cheaply. Arsenal have been really awful today, haven't they? There's no other word for it. They've barely strung passes together, created little or nothing. One effort on target from Jack Wilshere in the whole game, which was saved by Lloris, who's otherwise been a spectator. Arsene Wenger's got big problems, because with the gap that there's going to be between these two teams, the chances of Arsenal reaching the Champions League are regressing as we speak.
2 hopes, did they say, and Bob's just left time.
Well, here's Davinson Sanchez. The only comforting thought, I think, for Arsenal fans is that it is only 1-0. The game should be out of sight for Spurs, really. It isn't, though, yet. And how often have we seen teams play poorly and snatch something given the inability of the other team to see the game out.
And you would have said in the first half, okay, both teams really aren't that, but there's always that potential. But as soon as Spurs have stepped it up, Arsenal just simply haven't replied at all. They've had the opportunities to put some crosses in, have some good shots, try and get some build-up play, but every time they have that opportunity, it just seems to fail at the final hurdle.
Well, just over 15 minutes left to go. Jack Adams says, thank you, Talksport.com. I've listened to the NLD, I'm not sure what that is, here in Tokyo. Oh, I see. I thought it was some sort of radio station. I've never seen it used as an acronym like that. Really appreciated this because it's my only realistic connection when I'm out in the Far East. Tottenham are by far the better team, quite right. Here's Davinson Sanchez. Is it always referred to as NLD? I've never heard that. I suppose it's shorthand. It just shows how out of touch I am with such things. Here's Kane, who at the moment has the goal that separates the team, finding Lamela. Lamela's got Eriksson to his left. Eriksson just inside the box, clips it in, real chance! Brilliant save again by Petr Cech. It was Harry Kane who met it on the half volley. Tottenham Hotspur really should be 5-0 up. Kane into the box, across the face. How many more saves is Petr Cech going to need to make to keep Arsenal in this game?
Well, he is the reason why it is 1-0. We've talked a couple of times, and actually it's Kieran Trippier who's coming in on the right back area, who's caught it so sweetly on the half volley. Unfortunately for Kieran Trippier, it's straight at Petr Cech. Luckily for Arsenal, it's right at Petr Cech, and he has saved it. It's bounced to Mustafi, and he has cleared it eventually. But just another example of, it's just such a clear-cut chance for Spurs, and there's probably been at least 4 or 5 of them in the last 10 minutes. And if Spurs don't get this second goal, they really will be kicking themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. It was Trippier, not Kane. So reasonable connection, but the goalkeeper was well placed. Here's Bellerin for Arsenal, who have been woefully second best in the second half. The substitutes Lacazette and Iwobi have had very little impact so far.
Well, it's interesting that Arsene Wenger...
Oh, hang on, Wilshere has played the ball forward usefully. Ozil chases Lloris very sprightly off his line to come out and clear in his 241st appearance for Tottenham Hotspur. Could be heading for a second clean sheet against Arsenal in 13 meetings.
Well, he's not called the sweeper keeper for nothing. That's exactly what he's just done there, and it was just before that chance for Arsenal. I was just about to say it's interesting how Arsene Wenger has put Lacazette up front, almost at the top of the attacking 4 players for Arsenal, and put Aubameyang over on the left as their new signing to spend all that money on.
Well, he hasn't done very much today, Aubameyang. Here's Monreal finding Koscielny to Xhaka. Arsenal just enjoying a feel of the ball at the moment because they've had so little of it in this second half. It's come out to Bellerin though, who finds Iwobi. Iwobi runs straight into Dele Alli, who goes away from the Nigerian international, who then fouls him, I think, Iwobi. It's going to be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur right on the halfway line on this near side of Wembley Stadium. Ali takes it quickly and Eriksson will keep it in. Clever free kick by Dele Alli. Eriksson, can he pick out a Spurs player in the box? It's gone across the face of goal. Kane trying to get there and does get there. And Son wants it, or rather Dele Alli, I should say, wants it played into the box. It's Moussa Dembele just outside the Arsenal penalty area, finding Ben Davis. Davis to Eriksson. Eriksson just moves in field. Tottenham Hotspur patient in their build-up, but looking for a second goal, which will surely seal the deal. Granit Xhaka, though, has intercepted for Arsenal. In slides Dyer. It's hard to think of any position on the field where Arsenal have performed better than Tottenham. Every Spurs player really, with the absence of Cech, I was going to say, it's not really Lloris's fault.
No.
Nobody else in a red shirt has done better than a white-shirted counterpart.
Yeah, I think the only way to describe this is the Spurs have been dominant in the second half. They're closing down the ball, their quality on the ball, just even the vision of where they're playing the passes. There's so much more in the Spurs in terms of the level, quality. Unfortunately, we've just seen Eric Lamela go in here almost 2-footed on Jack Wilshere.
Actually, for that foul.
And rightly so, because that's a really poor challenge, and luckily Jack Wilshere saw that coming and skipped over the top of it.
Well, Pochettino is getting drenched as he looks on alongside Arsene Wenger, and we won't mind that because his team have performed really well, but there is still time for Arsenal. 11 minutes, Wilshere towards Iwobi. Iwobi again has scored in possession. Arsenal survive. It's come out to Bayer in near side. We're going to get beyond Christian Eriksen. Eriksen finds Xhaka. It's a better ball. Here's Ozil. Ozil has found Lacazette again. Lacazette is offside. Not the first time that he's just gone too early. He looks wistfully across to the assistant referee as if to suggest that that was a mistake, but I think he was just off.
Probably, and again, it's really, really tight, but it's one of those decisions that whenever the coach or the manager sees it, because Lacazette's pulled all the way across to the right-hand side, he's looking across the entire Spurs back line. He shouldn't really be caught offside in that position because you can see there's no one else on the right-hand side. You can see everybody to your left. Definitely should have been offside, so it's a little bit lazy play from Lacazette.
Interesting what we were saying about Petr Cech. Got a tweet here from offended merchant Andani who says my man of the match is Cech. He looks like in his prime. He deserves the outfield players to equalise for his performance. Well,
true.
Frankly, but they haven't lived up to his performance, have they?
No.
Any of them?
No.
So I'm not sure I agree with that. I think it would be a travesty from Tottenham's point of view at the moment if Arsenal were to equalise.
Yeah, but you can imagine if you are Petr Cech and you're thinking, hang on a minute, lads, I shouldn't have this many saves to make, especially point blank saves, which is what he's doing, and he really is pulling off some outstanding stops at the minute.
Well, he's made 3 or 4. The game should be out of sight for Spurs. It still isn't. We're inside the final 10 minutes. Here's Iwobi, who I don't think has hit one pass to a teammate since he's been on. Kane has been tackled in centre midfield. It comes out to Mesut Ozil. He's had one of those frustrating games where he hasn't really contributed very much. Granit Xhaka plays an interesting ball across towards Aubameyang, who tries to cushion it into Lacazette. Lacazette tries to bring it down and shoot, but his touch is heavy and the ball goes across to a Spurs defender who thumps it clear. But Arsenal at least are offering their supporters a little bit of hope here. They've weathered a real Tottenham storm and they're trying to come forward. But again, passing's been awful from Arsenal, hasn't it? And this time it's Koscielny giving it away, and he's fortunate that the subsequent pass is not a particularly good one forward, and that Dele Alli was beaten to the punch by Mustafi. Mustafi was celebrating at the Emirates against Tottenham in November, scoring one of the goals in a 2-0 win. Tottenham Hotspur leading by 1-0 here. And that's a lovely ball forward. Here's Aubameyang. He's offside again.
Well, Ozil with a really, really good ball. Probably very few times have we seen him do this in the match, but he's inside his own half. He's playing Aubameyang, who again is offside. He's just the other side of Trippier there, and probably just went a little bit early, but that's what Aubameyang's been living off today. Just scraps. Very occasionally has Mesut Ozil had the opportunity to play those balls through. But I just wonder, I'm sitting here wondering, John, thinking 8 minutes left of normal time anyway, and because Spurs haven't got that second goal, because Arsenal are still in it, is this the reason why Spurs are sitting in the 5th position and Arsenal in 6th? Because they just don't have that ability at the minute to consistently kill teams off.
Well, Spurs are unbeaten in 8 Premier League games, but they've drawn 3 of the last 5. Arsenal have the quality. On paper, certainly. They haven't shown it yet, but the likes of Ozil and Aubameyang and Wilshere and Lacazette on his day have what it takes. Here's Iwobi finding Ozil. It would be smash and grab, really, wouldn't it, if Arsenal were to pinch an equaliser, but they take it now.
But I really do believe if Arsenal do get that equaliser, you know, not only do they deserve it, but the fact that Spurs haven't killed them off, it's almost like they're giving them that opportunity. They're saying, okay, we're doing well, and definitely the better team in the second half. That doesn't give you anything.
Ali trying to find Kane. The Tottenham fans are claiming it's either a corner or a free kick. Kane's gone down under pressure from Monreal. Just get another good view of it here. Did he win the ball? I think he did, actually. It's going to be a corner, not a free kick. Probably prefer a corner anyway.
Yeah.
Wanyama is about to come on, having hit an absolute screamer against Liverpool last week.
I think for some reason, John, that Mauricio Pochettino's come out to the fourth official who's holding up the board for to bring Victor Wanyama on, and I think Pochettino's just saying no wait. Not sure if they're making the substitution or not. Maybe as this corner's coming in.
I think Dele Alli might have been the man who was going to come off. Wanyama's stripped and on the sideline. It is Dele Alli who's coming off. Applause to Tottenham Hotspur fans behind that goal. Continued a bit of a barren spell. He hasn't been on target today. Only 2 in his last 20 games, Dele Alli, and he hasn't scored since he netted against Swansea 8 games ago, but he's getting a standing ovation from the Tottenham Hotspur fan. He's been part of a very good team performance today.
He's been fantastic, Dele Alli. It just, and again, I'd probably say his greatest attribute today was just his energy.
Yeah.
You know, he's made a couple of good passes and a couple of little flicks, especially linking up well with Harry Kane, but his energy and just non-stop running has been an absolute pleasure to watch.
Spurs have a corner. It's going to be Eric Lamela with his left foot to curl it in from the far side. Wanyama is immediately up to try and get on the end of it. Dyer does get on the end of it, but his header loops up, goes across the goal line for an Arsenal goal kick. 5 minutes to go. Last throw of the dice from Arsene Wenger sees Danny Welbeck fit again, and he's going to be introduced in place of Granit Xhaka for the final 5 minutes of the game plus stoppage time. 5 goals this season for Danny Welbeck, although he hasn't scored in the Premier League since he got a double against Bournemouth back in September. Here's Wilshere, midfield for Arsenal. That's a lovely ball by Wilshere to Aubameyang, and that's come off Davinson Sanchez, and Arsenal have suddenly got themselves a corner out of nothing. Really good ball by Wilshere.
Would you say
Sanchez got there just to poke it away from Aubameyang?
Would you agree with me that Wilshere's probably been Arsenal's best player?
I would. Apart from Czech, I would agree.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Outfield player,
totally. 10th corner of the game. Third corner of the game, I should say, for Arsenal. Headed away by Kieran Trippier. Tottenham have had 10. Here's Wilshere again. Just gets it away from Eriksen and looks to try and cause a few more problems. This is good stuff from Wilshere, and Welbeck couldn't quite get on the end of it. It's a lovely ball by Jack Wilshere. Welbeck, who's just come on, the ball just went across him. He just needed a touch to bring it under control, and he wasn't able to do so. And Laurie slides in. But Arsenal in the last couple of minutes have looked better, and Wilshere's been, as you say, the instigator for them. But the fact remains that they trail by the Harry Kane header early in the second half. Here's Trippier finding Davinson Sanchez. Trippier down the line towards Eriksen, knocked away by Koscielny, picked up by Victor Wanyama, the Kenyan captain once of Southampton. It's gone out of play.
Well, I just think he's such a top player, Wanyama, and for almost Mauricio Pochettino has that option every single game that Wanyama is on the bench, and of course Eric Dyer and Dembele have been very good today, but to be able to bring off Victor Wanyama and just really try and kill this game off. We've talked about killing it off and getting the second goal, but Pochettino does this on a regular basis where he brings on Wanyama, and suddenly you have Eric Dyer, Wanyama, Dembele, and that is such a solid, strong central midfield area.
Yeah, and Arsenal haven't looked like breaking it down yet. Here's Koscielny. Tottenham fans have totally drowned out the Arsenal contingent, albeit smaller, of course, from start to finish at Wembley Stadium. It's going to be a miserable return journey for the Gunners unless they can produce something extraordinary in the time that remains. Here's Danny Welbeck. Square to Alex Iwobi, who finds Wilshere. Wilshere in turn to Ozil. Ozil clips it over the top. Useful ball chased by Monreal, but chased in vain by the Spaniard. It's bounced twice and gone away behind for a Tottenham Hotspur goal kick, which they'll be in no hurry to take. 83,222 in Wembley Stadium for this derby.
Well, they've definitely got the money's worth in the second half for the majority of the home fans, because Spurs' performance first half was probably average at best.
Evenly poor, I think, first half, wasn't it?
Second half,
Tottenham
they really have turned up, and they've produced the performance that pretty much everyone expected that you'd want to have in a North London derby.
Harry Kane is bungled over by Hector Bellerin. Is this the game where they're going to look back and say this is where the pendulum swung, and we can say that Tottenham are now above Arsenal, having been second best? Well, you look at the second half and they've been far the better team. They're going to be 7 points ahead of them, third in the table. Arsenal floundering outside the European places at the moment. Here's Lamela with a chance to finish it, and he should have done.
Well, he should have put it across. He should have put it across the box to Christian Eriksen, because Christian Eriksen has made a lovely diagonal run. Lamela's done well to keep himself onside, finds himself in the 18-yard box all alone. Christian Eriksen is making his way across the 6-yard box. It is a tight angle for Lamela. Probably if I were in that position, I would have had a shot too. But if Christian Eriksen's running in, put that across the 6-yard box, and that is the tap in. Second goal, game over. But it's not.
No, because
still
we're in the final minute of the 90. Lamela should have perhaps wrapped it up. Tottenham have had 5 opportunities to increase their lead. Here's Bellerin for Arsenal, who are running out of time. Alex Iwobi square to Jack Wilshere. Wilshere tries to get forward, hacked away by Vertonghen, high and long and way into the Arsenal half, all the way through, in fact, to Petr Cech, but for whom Tottenham would be home and hosed, but they're not. Here's Bellerin down the right hand side for Arsenal. Useful looking cross, chance! Oh, Lacazette skied it. Difficult chance, to be fair. Tried to catch it on the volley and side-footed into the net. Instead, he side-footed it a long way over the crossbar, and we're into 4 minutes of stoppage time.
Well, my heart was in my mouth there, because Bellerin, for once in this game, has put in a good cross. He's actually picked someone out. Lacazette finds himself at the back post, and I'm thinking, go on, just side-footed into the top corner, and it's a bit like Son's shot probably about 15 minutes ago, where he has a great opportunity and blazes it so high above the crossbar, and Lacazette did the exact same thing. Probably you would say, John, Arsenal don't deserve to get anything out of this game. Spurs have been so dominant, they shouldn't be taking anything less than 3 points away.
Difficult chance, but perhaps not one that should be beyond a £46.5 million striker.
And also, would it not have been better to go with his head? Because his foot was quite high, probably higher than his waist. To give you an idea of how high he had to reach up with his right foot, and probably would have been better to go and attack it with his head and try and do what Harry Kane did, which was head the ball back across the area into the far corner.
It was an absolutely textbook header from Harry Kane in every sense. Here's Dyer for Spurs, flicked by Eriksen, doesn't find Wanyama. Ozil for Arsenal just finds Aubameyang wide on the left hand side. Aubameyang with 3 white shirts around him gets a cross in, which is a poor one. It's gone behind. More ironic cheers from the Tottenham Hotspur fans, who are singing when the Spurs go marching in. They love nothing better than putting Arsenal to the sword, and there is a feeling in North London that the balance of power is shifting. Arsene Wenger looking frustrated. Mauricio Pochettino looking at his watch. I can tell him he's got 2 minutes of stoppage time left. Arsenal fans looking grim-faced at Wembley Stadium, some arms folded, thoroughly frustrated by what they've seen, or what they've not seen from their team this afternoon.
Definitely not seen is probably more prevalent there, because they just haven't come up with any sort of quality. We talked about Bellerin putting in that one cross. Lacazette should have done better. At least make Lloris have a save, at least give him something to do. And is it only just the Jack Wilshere shot?
Yeah,
the only thing that Lloris has had to save.
That's the only one on target. Here's Lacazette, no! Oh, he's put it wide! Arsenal had the opportunity there to pinch an unlikely and undeserved point, and Alexander Lacazette, clean through on goal, has rolled the ball the wrong side of the post, and that in all probability will be Arsenal's last chance. For once Tottenham switched off at the back. Lacazette could and should have scored, but didn't.
Well, there's a reason why Spurs aren't going to win the league this year, and that's probably it, because with 2 minutes to go, 1 minute to go in injury time. Lacazette has such a clear-cut opportunity. Should have scored. Spurs should be drawing this game from a fantastic winning position.
Here's Bellerin though, in towards Lacazette. Arsenal are finishing strongly, but they've been penalised on the edge of the box. Well, Lacazette, well, he's had two. One difficult, one less difficult. You'd expect more, wouldn't you, from a player of his reputation with his transfer fee. We're looking at it again. Well, he got there before Lloris. Lloris did his best to narrow the angle, but even so, Lacazette really should have found the target there.
Any other top quality striker is putting that ball in.
Kane would have buried it.
Kane, Aguero, anybody who's running through on goal there, a top class player is going to slip that under Lloris, and that would have been the goal that Arsenal probably didn't deserve. But actually, if you're having that many opportunities in the last few minutes of the game, then probably you do.
Whistles from the Tottenham crowd. There are seconds left. It's Mustafi for Arsenal inside his own half. He's going to have to launch it, which he does. Up towards Aubameyang, gets the header in. Lacazette tries to get on the end of it. Oh, Arsenal have got a free kick on the edge of the box. Tottenham are furious. Anthony Taylor has booked Eric Dyer. Well, is there to be last gasp drama? Lacazette might have provided it a moment ago, but Arsenal will have one final last chance to get an undeserved point out of this North London derby that their rivals have dominated.
Well, it's really poor play from Spurs. Whenever they had the chance to clear the ball, they haven't. Suddenly Moussa Dembele's bringing down Danny Welbeck. One last kick of the game. You go all the way back to Paul Gascoigne's free kick, virtually in the same position, except this time you've got Mesut Ozil standing over it.